Hey guys, it's me again, Barry Clapp. We're here, Get Slydewayz. It's time to have another little podcast, dudes. We've got a pretty special show for you lined up tonight. We've got we've got a couple of really cool guys in the house, really good car guys. We're going to save it for just a second, though. You know, I forgot to put the little thing out to tell everybody to watch. We probably ought to put something on Facebook to draw some folks in. Maybe the guys that are old heads that already knew the show was coming, they'll tune in, but. Before we get started real good, be sure to like us, follow us, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Help us build this little brand. Chase around Slide Factory on all of those different platforms, and the podcast on Spotify is called Get Slydewayz with me, Barry Clapp. And also, we're starting to broaden this audience a little bit. We're starting to hit around 10,000 people with every episode that we do. Some of our little TikTok shorts, gosh, are hitting the 15 to, we had one almost 60,000 views. So if you or you know someone that would like to sponsor a podcast like this and actually help us grow a little bit, reach out. We've got several different packages, different ways that we can do that so that you can, you know, I've got this big space behind my head. Your logo needs to be right there, right? So a lot of room for that. We do a 4-camera shoot, so there's lots of room to put your brand out there in front of folks because we are starting to reach some people. It's actually starting to gain some momentum. So all that being said, that's the business side, so let's get to the fun part. Tonight, we have country singer, songwriter, Mr. James Otto in the house. How cool is that? And, you know, Brian Finch, the guy that builds all these awesome, cool race cars and does our racing with us and all that stuff. So Mr. Music City Muscle, Mr. Finch Performance, Brian Finch in the house as well. And apparently some libations to go with him. So this should be a pretty good episode. So, man, golly, James, I don't know a whole lot about you. You know, I've met you 3 or 4 times. You've been to the track with us a couple times. We did the indie thing that time. That was the first time we actually got to meet. So, dude, like, tell me about the music industry. Oh, man. how broad is that for you to get started with, right?
Tell you about the music industry.
You need a longer show.
You want a sad story?
No. Just the fun stuff.
Man, honestly, I've been in it a long time.
I
moved to Nashville from Washington State probably 28 years ago or something crazy like that.
West Coaster.
Yeah, I'm a West Coaster. That's exactly right. And moved to town strictly for music. Came to town and luckily have been able to make my living in the music business ever since. So,
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I know you've written some stuff that some of our listeners will be familiar with.
Yes, sir.
Fill them in on the big ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
like you wrote one of my favorite songs ever. So.
You're probably talking about In Color.
Absolutely.
Which Jamie Johnson is the singer on. Me, Jamie Johnson, and a guy named Lee Thomas Miller wrote that song.
Nice.
You know, that's one of those songs you just don't know when you write a song what's going to happen with them. I mean, I've written literally thousands of songs.
Sure.
99% of the songs that I've written, you're never going to hear. Mm-hmm. And then you have a couple of them here and there that get a life of their own and they become something. And that song, I mean, it's just amazing. I have so many grown, hardened veterans come up to me after shows in tears, either talking about their buddies back when their service time, or old men that are remembering their own service and talk about all that. And it's such an amazing thing to have such a connection with people through a song, and that's what music is supposed to be about.
Absolutely,
it's supposed to be about personal connection and being able to talk about the human condition. And the more that you can be truthful about it, I think the more that people see themselves in it. And that was one of the songs that we just got right. You know what I mean? Yeah. It hit all of the right places. Yeah. And it was because we were being truthful and talking about our own lives. My dad was military. Nice. I was military. My grandfather was military. Jamie Johnson was also a Marine.
Nice.
Lee Thomas Miller, who was our other writer, had plenty of experience with it as well. So it was just, it came through conversation like this.
Yeah.
You sit and you talking and you connect with somebody and maybe having a drink or two.
Sure.
And if you...
lets the creativity flow.
You let it flow and talk about it. And we just got it right. And that's just what you try to do every day. And every so often, you catch lightning in a bottle.
That's sweet. I love that song, man. Like that.
Thank you.
There was that one and there was I don't know who wrote the other one. There was 2 that were really similar. the one about the old Mustang or whatever that was kind of similar to that.
Oh, was it
what's that song
was
called?
It David Ball, the Riding with Private Malone?
Yes, Riding with
which was a
Private
great
Malone.
song, fantastic song. Yeah.
When Angela and I first moved here to Nashville, that's the reason we came too. Angela is a really good singer, and she was wanting to learn the songwriter thing.
Sure.
And she, we were living over in East Tennessee, newly married. We didn't have a lot. We were trying to figure out what our way was going to be.
Sure.
And she was singing at Dollywood up there on the
yeah.
stage and
Yes,
all
sir.
those shows and stuff. And we were both always in the choral groups in school and church and whatnot like that. But when we first moved here, she was going to a lot of writers' nights, and I remember going to, what's that little place across the street from Zany's?
Oh, that was Douglas Corner.
Yes.
I was so sad to see that place go.
Yeah,
It was such an amazing writer's room.
She went to Douglas Corner, and that writer sang that song.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, man, we really are in Nashville, aren't we? Because we had no idea, But that's really sweet. So, like, when did you feel like you were going to be, like, what made you decide to try to, is that just something that happened? Did you, like, grow up with a guitar in your hand?
Music.
Or?
I knew from the time I was really young that I loved music and that I was moved by music.
Yeah.
And my dad was a musician. He played guitar, he played drums, he sang, and so I saw him doing that. And I also knew that my grandfather played, and it was the weirdest combination of things. That my influences, the way that I look at it, was my dad used to play. He was a rocker. He was really into
nice.
Classic rock and all the stuff that we love and that's been on classic rock radio for the last 40 years.
Right.
I grew up with all of that stuff, but my dad, every time that he would pick up a guitar, he was playing country music.
Oh.
And it's because that's what his dad would have him play. He would come home late drinking from the bars and have my dad play like Hank Snow songs or like Glenn Campbell and like all of this really great classic country music. And so everything that I heard got filtered through a rock guy. So it all had that kind of a little bit of an edge onto it. You could
little
tell
bit of a ring.
Yeah. He was playing country music, but it had its own thing. And from there, I kind of took it and did my thing to it as well.
I love it.
Nice.
It's so funny because, like, we're very similar people. So, like, my mom and dad both played piano.
Right.
Dad was like a choir director, music guy in churches. And that's how we grew up. Mom would play, Dad would lead. And I'm talking about in them one little bitty Baptist churches that there's only 75 people in there. There was one in East Tennessee called Little Flat Creek Church. And I still have that organ up there in my garage is the organ. It's an old air pump organ.
Oh, yeah.
From Little Flat Creek Church. Been in the family 100 years.
The church is such a great place for music to bloom inside of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get a chance to actually like sing and be in front of people and you get that experience. It's like being on stage, being in the choir, doing that whole thing.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many real great musicians come out of that.
Guarantee it.
Yeah.
Because our little church grew to a point where it was probably 1,500 people on a Sunday,
Wow.
and we had built a gymnasium-sized
Yes,
stage, and we were doing productions with lights and 4-camera shoots
yeah.
and big things like that, and that was what made it easier when she did come here to start, to not be scared to death to be on a stage up there by herself. So.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you get the experience to feel like you can handle it up there and not be worried about it and can hold an audience.
Yeah.
That gives you a lot of confidence,
Yeah,
for sure.
it's tough. It's hard to do. That hold an audience part is tough.
Yes, it is.
So, like, when you're about to go out on stage, like, we get the butterflies before we climb in a race car. Do you get the major butterflies even though you've been doing it forever?
Yeah. Sometimes more nervous than others. Most of the time it's just, excited.
Yeah.
But you always feel something before you go out there. You know what I mean? You feel either nerves because you're not sure how it's going to go or you're just still, I don't get stage fright, but I know people that still do. Famous people that still do and still feel
it's like what we do. You go out there and say, don't suck.
That's it.
I mean, that's the bottom line.
I've got to lay this down right, or I'm going to mess this. I mess this up. Of course, we're not going to win if we don't do it right.
Yeah, or I'm gonna forget these words, and I'm famous for forgetting words. I'm happy. It just happens, man. There's just no stopping it sometimes.
But like you're a good enough writer that you kind of make your own words as you go, and you can rhyme it and you can fake it.
As long as you don't stop. You're good to go. You just don't stop.
Dude, we were watching one of those shows up there at Dollywood, and it was a really fast song, and Dollywood, for whatever reason, speeds everything up too to make the show go faster, so they can squeeze stuff in
Keep
there.
the energy high.
And it was the what is it? The Hey Pretty Lady, won't you give me some? Give anything to make you mine.
Yes,
It was that song.
Yes.
And,
Grundy County Auction.
and the poor guy having to. There's our groundhog. Look at him. Look at that big old sucker.
He made it. Make an appearance.
Our new mascot for the show is here again. We're gonna have to name that little dude, you know. But dude, they were doing it so fast. I was out there in the audience going, "How is that guy singing it? It was going so fast," and he got lost in it.
I'm sure he did.
And he all of a sudden, he was going, and he turned and went, "Help me out, boys!" Trying to get somebody to give him some words or something. And he just stood up there and hummed for a minute. And went to the
at
next
least
one,
he wasn't having to clog and do it too. Like you see those people.
I know. Oh,
Dolly
my
would have
gosh.
to do that.
Oh,
I
my
saw this
gosh.
little girl up there. She was clogging, playing, and singing, and I was like, and she did it for hours. I was like, how is this girl doing this for all this time? I would die.
It's so funny. Like that's just so fun to watch that kind of stuff. Because man, we were kids up there trying to do them shows.
course.
You know? Golly, that was a lot of fun. So, man alive. So what are you doing like now? You've gone from you've done the singer songwriter thing. You're still entertaining, right?
yeah,
You're
yeah.
still like
Oh, all the
traveling
time.
and doing your thing.
Yep.
And
I still write all the time. I'll be writing tomorrow with a buddy of mine. I tour a bunch. I play a bunch of shows. So I'm usually I'm like a weekend warrior these days. I go out on the weekends and play all over the country.
like by yourself. Like
Well, yeah, by myself or with full band. You know,
take the band? Okay.
yeah, I take the band from time to time. I do more acoustic shows than I do anything else.
Sure.
And it keeps the overhead down.
Heard that.
It's the simplicity of it is so much better, and the profitability of it is
Guaranteed.
way better.
less you have to pay out,
Absolutely.
the more you put in your pocket.
Yes.
I feel that.
Buses are expensive, fuel's expensive, flights are expensive,
Drinks are-
hotels, cocktails are expensive. It's hard. It's expensive to keep a band on the road. So, man, I'm good with the guitar.
Yeah.
I'm a good storyteller. I like sitting on a stool and doing
Nice.
that thing. It's one of my favorite ways to play music, and I've done it for years and years. And so I've kind of put myself in a position to be able to do that, travel the world with just me and a guitar, and
How
show
cool is
up,
that?
do a thing, and it's like being a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
I think it's the best possible way to tour. When I've always seen all these great stand-up comedians, and you go, man, they either, if they're really killing it, they're out on a bus and it's them and a driver and maybe one other person, like to handle business. They got a tour manager or something. Or they can get in, like me, they'll hop on a flight and rent a car and show up wherever. It's just the easiest possible way to do it. And also, man, you make great connections. Yeah. One of the best parts of being on the road like that is the people that I meet. And, you know, I've met some amazing people. I mean, from literal royalty to billionaires to Joe Schmo that just happens to be one of the coolest people I know that has a massive car collection. And, you know, you just don't know who you're going to meet. And so if you leave those opportunities open to meet folks and to go out there and be with people, man, your life gets richer for it. I have friends in every state. I'll show up in a state and be like, hey, come stay with me.
Nice.
Hey, let's go fishing. Let's go do this.
Nice.
And for me, that's the best part of it all.
I love it.
Yep.
So did you ever like do the big tour where you were the?
Oh, yeah.
How far did that
yeah.
all go before you toned it back down to be just you and the guitar?
Just Got Started Loving You was my first number one. It was a 2-week number one. It was the most played song of the year that year, and it also is one of the most played. It's the top 100, one of the top 100 most played songs in the history of country music radio, which is kind of unbelievable.
Wow.
And that song specifically, the year that it blew up, I think I played almost. I was gone over 300 days out of the year. I was gone.
Wow.
I was in my own bed. I want to say like a month, like 30 or 35 days out of that year.
That's amazing.
And I was in a tour bus, and we did that for several years. I went on like that for about 5 years after that song.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had a blast doing all that stuff, but also it was some of the hardest years of my life. I mean, I went from having a songwriter's lifestyle where I was at home, you know, most of the days of the week to being gone most of the days of the week. And also you're I'm getting up and I'm doing radio tour first thing in the morning,
yeah.
and you're going like 20 hours a day.
People don't think about that part of it.
It's 20 hours a day, and you're traveling. Then
I'm
I'm traveling on a bus, and I'm not sleeping very well on a bus. And so, you think about trying to get actual sleep for those hours that you do get off. Some people sleep really well on the bus going down the road. When I start hearing rumble strips, and you're listening to the generator, or you're absolutely every bump in the road. I never slept well, and so I got to this place where I was like, not super happy and kind of depressed by the end of the year. And so it coincided with my daughter being born, and I ended up actually having like diverticulitis and going to the hospital and having to like several times like go to the hospital and be down for a week or two. And I kind of took that as a sign of like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be running as hard as you're running. Because your health is failing, your mental health is also failing. Things aren't going like you'd want them to be. If you're not happy doing it, something's wrong, because I'm doing the thing I love most. It should be the culmination of all my dreams come true. You should be the happiest you've ever been. And I just wasn't. And so I had to re-examine some of that stuff and figure out, okay, what are the things that are important to me? And luckily, songwriting has been really good to me, and I've been able to lean back on that. Tour as I want to. I never cared about being famous. Fame was never part of the equation. It was really more of a side effect to being successful. You know what I mean? I just wanted to play music,
and all of a sudden,
that's it. All of a sudden, you go from 0 to 200 mile an hour, and all of it's happening. And I was like, man, fame isn't exactly what I want it to be. So let's pull back and see if we can't live the parts of it that you want to live. And I've been happily doing that ever since.
Like have some privacy to your life and not be under the microscope constantly and all that.
I admire people that can live that life. And can you imagine, like, think about being Taylor Swift famous.
You have no freedom.
No freedom.
You're
surely
a prisoner
you can,
in your own life.
Yeah, maybe you have the mansion and you have all of those things, but you can't. You literally can't go anywhere without being pestered. If you're at a football game with your boyfriend, they're talking about you. It just becomes it became something that I didn't necessarily want. So, and I certainly wouldn't want that level of fame ever.
Yeah, like you can't go anywhere without, hey, can I get a picture? Hey, can you sign this? Hey, can you
And I don't mind those things, but on the other hand, like I've been to that place, where you're out at dinner with your family and people are coming up to the table and asking you for autographs or pictures while you're trying to enjoy dinner with your family.
I'm trying to have dinner with my wife.
After I'm done, we can do that. I guess my personality wasn't very well suited for that.
I was going to say, how do you balance that by trying to be a nice guy, but say, dude?
Yeah, I definitely always try to be nice, and I am just a.
Because there's always that prick out there that says, "Well, but if you don't give me, you gotta. We're the whole reason you're famous. You need to take your picture with us."
Yes, and I'd be happy to do that after I'm done with dinner with my wife.
Yeah, can I finish this bite of steak, please? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Come on over here. Come in here.
Yeah, so
my ice cream's melting.
And as a writer too, look, I'm a pretty outgoing person generally. When I get out, you can be pretty gregarious, but also, I didn't become a songwriter and a guitar player by being out every night. It was spending a lot of time in my basement, playing my guitar and figuring it out by myself and thinking about stuff. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's kind of it's such a juxtaposition with fame of somebody that is really good at what they do. But then you take it and you have to put it in front of the world and be in front of the world all the time. I'm not sure I'm built for that.
Right. I can feel that. Angela and I used to talk about that too. What are you going to do if something really does? Because she's a homebody, dude.
Yeah, me too.
She is not a run the roads kind of.
No.
She gets aggravated if we drive more. Like we drove to Chattanooga and she was mad by the time we got to Chattanooga. We're just trying to go to the aquarium, I'm like, we've only been in the car for an hour and a half. How are you going to?
I like to travel and I like to go places. But I don't like large groups of people. That's the part that I don't like. I don't like being in massive crowds. I don't mind being in front of a massive crowd of people and singing and doing my thing. But like being in it is something that I don't. It's not a. I guess it's anxiety probably. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
It's something that I would choose not to do. Like everybody's like, when people come to Nashville, and like my little brother came down for a bachelor party, and he's like, man, come downtown and have a bunch of drinks with us. Let's go hit the bars. I'm like, man, as soon as you're done with all that, come to my house and I'll cook up some barbecue and we'll have some drinks in the backyard. I am definitely not going downtown.
I'm with you. Oh my gosh, we've lived here for almost 20 years, and I bet you I'd count on one hand the time that I've gone to Nashville just to go to Nashville.
Yeah, man. I don't. Broadway and all that stuff. I'm really happy for Nashville that it's done everything it's done. But I like old Nashville. Yeah. I like the old school. You know, you went downtown and half the bars were shuttered.
Yeah.
You go to a bar, but it wasn't mobbed. It wasn't 3 or 4 stories of bachelorettes and
woo-hoo girls. We call
exactly.
them.
And that shit's nuts to me, man. I'd much rather stay home.
Oh man, I feel you. All right, guys, that's segment number 1 already. Man, time goes by fast when you're talking about stuff you love.
Yes,
I'm telling you. So we're going to take a little short break, watch these couple of videos, and we'll be back here in just a few minutes. We'll get Slydewayz with Barry Clapp.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Finch with Finch Performance, and we're just going to take a quick little peek around the shop here to see some of the different things that we work on around here. So first up, we've got some chassis in production. We've got a small backlog right now, but we're knocking out some 67 to 72 C10 stuff. We've got a really cool 67 crew cab Chevy here, C10. We've made a custom one-off Apex Predator chassis with long arm suspension all the way around. This thing's going to be pretty badass. 56 F100 with a Coyote 10-speed. Just all we got left here is really getting the supercharger installed, finishing up the wiring and a little bit of the fuel system, get it fired off. And then, of course, we're back on our Ferrari 308 custom project here with the LT5 engine and a Graziano 6-speed transaxle. So this thing is going to be full kill, badass. And that's just some of the things that we do here. So we don't just build trucks. We build a lot of everything. Main thing is we have a good time, because that's what it's about.
Hey guys, listen, if you need a livery on your race car or a wrap done on your commercial vehicle, give the guys down at Graphic Effects in Murfreesboro a call, 615-896-4301. They are the best in the business at what they do. If you need a mural done inside your business or outside on a brick wall even, they can do it. If you need a logo on your garage floor, they can do it. They specialize in commercial wraps, but they can also do the single color stuff, cool looking stripes, anything else you can think of. If you need a banner, if you just need stickers, if you need something cool for your race car, give these guys a call. Graphic Effects down in Murfreesboro, 615-896-4301. Check them out. Back, get Slydewayz with Barry Clapp. This is such a fun night. We're going nuts off the air too. So when we come back off the shot, if we're giggling a little bit, don't pay us any attention. Go ahead and hit like and subscribe on YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook. Man, what else? Everywhere. And help us grow this audience. This is going really good. If you're not watching this show, you're going to really miss it. We're going to have some fun. We got actually a couple of really cool things planned that we're going to do a little later in the show. If you look over my shoulder, James happened to bring his 72 Chevelle. Yep. That's got the Finch performance treatment done to it as well.
Oh yeah.
And it's getting close to done.
It's right? Close. Yeah. You know, it's mostly interiors left to be done. I've got a few little things here and there. I've got, if anybody has some 72 Chevelle original trim for the soft top, for the vinyl top, I need the parts of the back, because the ones from OPGI are unfortunately not the same as the one from this car. So apparently there's 2 different styles.
No kidding.
Yeah, so now I got to find some original trim.
Top of the quarter panel.
Yeah,
the vinyl top trim.
Yeah,
on the bottom
I got to find that. So please reach out to me. I am in the market for some. And then I got to put my mirrors on. I've got a few things here and there. But yeah, Finch is going to weld on some new exhaust tips on the back for me. You got some cool new decals we're putting on the bottom.
We actually have a little stripe kit we're going to add here in just
Kinda
a little bit.
excited about that.
We'll put that on there.
Yeah.
I love the Forge Line wheels, the old style.
The JO3Cs.
JO3Cs.
Yeah, I mean, they actually
James Otto.
James Otto 3-piece concave. They were
like
made for me.
Specially built.
Especially built for me. Yes, I love my Forge Line people. The Sharp family, I've been friends with them now for years.
Fantastic.
Amazing people. And I was talking to them about this build before I even started it, and I said, I would love to have a wheel that was reminiscent of the sport style wheel from 71 and 72. It was on the Camaros and it was on the Chevelles. And we talked about it, and they said they wanted to build one, and then they said they wanted to name it after me, and so I got the very first set, and that's on this car.
That's pretty
sweet. They've sold a ton of them.
I didn't know that was an option. I'll have to call David back.
You didn't see the JOs?
I didn't know it was an option to have my own set of wheels built.
Oh, you want the BC?
We need some BC 03s.
You need some for the GTO, man.
I do. I need them to look like the old Pontiac Rally. That's close.
Actually, these if you take and there's a way to do these wheels on the paint scheme on them. It looks a lot like the GTO wheels.
To do like the silver centers.
Yes, exactly.
With the gray in the background.
Yes.
There's a set of them laying around here somewhere.
I will actually pull up a photo for them of somebody that did them, and they look killer.
No kidding.
So yeah,
I love the meats on the back of it. How wide are the rears?
I like the meats all the way around, and it's 315 3018s all the way around. Yeah.
I love it. So the rear's dished further than the front.
Oh, yeah. Got a narrowed rear and mini tubbed. It's that car it's got a roaster shop chassis up underneath it, so the fast track chassis. Finch set the ride height, and he could not have done it better. It absolutely is sexy as can be. It does not scrub at all.
We wouldn't expect anything.
Well, I know he knows what he's doing. That's why I had him do it.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, this is my first car. This is
no kidding.
Yeah, my mom and my dad helped me get this car in high school, and then my dad sold it to my best friend the week I joined the military. Neither one of them told me till I got out, and I was trying for 25 years to get it back, and I got it back, and it's taken almost 7 years to get it to this point. But
no kidding.
Yeah.
So they literally sold it, and you tracked it down, and
well, luckily my best friend kept it. And as mad as I was at him for buying it, for not selling it back to me at the time, it sat in his garage from 97 on.
We'll be thankful of that.
Yeah, from 1997 until the year I got it back, which was like 7 years ago now. It sat in the garage and no rust at all.
Wow.
The paint was beat, but the body was in really good condition.
Nice.
And here we are.
So you went and you redid the paint, obviously. You did all that.
Did the original color.
There wasn't a ton of body shop to do.
Well, I mean, it's all frame off. So we put it on a rotisserie and did the whole thing.
Okay.
It's all done. But I wanted, when I got the car, I thought of the million different ways we could do it, right? We could paint it all these different colors. We could do this different thing, and we could make it look all these million different ways. And I thought, well, what's the purpose of getting your high school car back if it looks completely different than when you had it? And so I settled on the original paint scheme, which is the Gulf green, which was the granny grocery getter green color. But I love it, man.
It's beautiful.
In high school, it was a bit faded. The paint was okay. It certainly doesn't look like it does today. And actually, I friggin' love the color now.
I feel like that's one of those things that goes in circles.
Yes.
Like when it was brand new, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then there was a period of time where nobody wanted that green Chevelle. Nobody wanted it. They were god awful ugly. And now that thing is just beautiful.
I think it's gorgeous too. And we went with the white top like it had in high school. And man, I think my dad paid like $3,000 for that car in 1990 or 1991.
Wow.
It's one of my favorite possessions. It was one of those things that, like, I told myself if I ever made it, that I was going to get that car back, and I was going to do it, and here we are.
Nice. I love it. So you can see my little project sitting back there.
I know. I love it, man.
Very, very similar story.
Yeah.
That car my father purchased in 1975. Second owner. It's a 70 GTO convertible.
Amazing.
I was 3 years old, and I've grown up with that old girl, And
that's so cool, man.
And it was... I drove that thing to proms and to dates, first dates, whatnot. Won the burnout contest at my senior day, last day of school. Sorry, Dad.
Very nice.
And with it, because nobody else's would do what that thing will do.
Absolutely. Well, I had the 455.
455.
Nobody else had
yeah.
Aussie tracks.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's the one drawback on that one.
is
She's
it a
one tire
one-winger?
fire,
One-winger,
baby.
huh?
So it'll lay a black mark about this wide as far as you want to go.
That's what this one was too. It had the single tire fire and had the 350 with the 2-barrel carb.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was nothing performance
Just
about
the
this. At least you had
base.
the 455.
Well, and it's so funny that a guy that I actually went to high school with, that I had no idea was this big Pontiac historian, literally messaged me on Facebook when I first put it out there that I'd gone and gotten the car from my brother in Knoxville to bring it here to start kind of fixing it back up. And he said, "That car's got a 455 in it, doesn't it?" And I said, "Yeah." Was it ordered that way? And I said, "Yeah." He said, "There are only like 276 of those made.
Oh my
70
goodness.
convertible with a 455.
Lord
And I was
have
like,
mercy.
no, I had no idea that it was that rare.
Yeah.
And we've had that car, it's been in the family 50 years now. We had no idea.
Well, who let it get into the shape it's in now?
Well, so, man, that's a hard question to answer. My older brother, who's a great guy and tries his best, had fallen on a little bit of hard times. And the car,
I get it.
My dad was driving that car to work back and forth all the way to Dandridge from Knoxville, which is about an hour and a half each way.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about them old Pontiacs, the oil returns in the heads weren't big enough.
Right.
And so if you got it up to a high RPM on the interstate and held it, all the oil would eventually get up in the top of the motor and burn the bearings out on the crank. And that's what happened 3 or 4 times in the time that we had it. We put, that's where I learned to work on cars, was putting motors in that car.
Sure.
Growing up.
And was
Makes
it your
sense.
dad that did it every time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I wasn't allowed to drive that thing. Wink, wink, wink. I never hardly ever got to drive that car. Wink, wink. I'll tell you that story in a minute. But the last time we took it down, the last time we'd had it rebuilt, it didn't last very long, and Dad was driving it to Dandridge, and he said it was just like NASCAR, dude. 10 o'clock at night coming down the interstate, and it went pooh, and a big cloud of smoke. And there's probably a push rod sticking in the asphalt because there was holes in the oil pan and pieces of push rods, and it was bad. It was lifters and everything in the oil pan.
Wow.
And I can remember being, I was probably just barely out of high school.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember the rollback, bringing it to the house and dropping it in the driveway, and it bleeding to death all over the driveway, and just thinking,
sir.
oh my gosh, our car, what happened,
Yep.
And Dad washed his hands of it. He said, I'm done. I'm not doing it no more.
Well, after it happens a couple of times, I'd get there too.
Yeah.
And I was just busting your balls because we kind of talked earlier about the car
I
and how
know.
it got to where it got. And the thing with my car is, when I say that my friend had it from 97, it was the best thing that could happen.
Yeah.
It literally is, because if I had this car in between while I was trying to make it in the music business and trying to figure out life, that car would have gotten sold to God knows who along the way, or wrecked, or who knows what along the way.
Yeah.
And it's strange how things work out to where you can actually, be in a position to have that again. It's amazing that car still even exists at all.
Yeah.
And that you got it, and that your brother had it, and now it's going to be brought back to life. It's
We'll
incredible.
get him back. When Dad first sold it to Larry, it was one of those deals where Dad was mad at it, wanted rid of it. Larry didn't have a place to put it.
Sure.
So Dad put it down in the backyard.
Yeah.
It was probably a 10-year-old restoration at that point.
Okay.
It wasn't in bad shape.
Right.
And then it sat down in the edge of the woods for 2 years.
Which will kill any car.
Which killed the paint, killed the top.
Yep.
And then Larry did his best, and he had some life happen to him, and he
as
just
it does.
didn't have a place to keep it.
Yep.
Thankfully, he didn't sell it.
Yeah.
And it spent the last probably 15 years of its life moving from garage to garage, just being stored.
I love that she's still here.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah, his little house he had over in Knoxville had a kind of a moist basement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that's why
that
it's
word.
got some,
Moist.
that's why it's got some, it didn't treat that car very
Moist
well.
and cars don't go very well together.
No.
That's a bad
Close your
combination.
ears, kids.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll get her back. It's solid underneath. The doors open and close perfectly. It's not bent in half. It's fine. We'll fix it. We'll get it there.
Nothing an LS7 won't fix.
That's it. Yeah, that's
Right.
what I'm talking
Well,
about.
the suspension was the first thing that he'd bought to put on it.
Yeah, you got UMI suspension underneath it, right?
Yep, yeah,
That's exciting.
We've started that. I did a couple of video clips. I didn't kill myself taking the springs out. It was pretty exciking.
That is exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking springs out can be exciting. That's an exciting thing
You
to do.
can you can see that little video on my page because I was like, this is going to be, and they moved, and I was like, oh god, it was like scared me to death, But
Yeah, that's a quick way to end up on the internet if you film that.
yeah,
You better
no
watch out.
kidding. So the front's done. I'm about to take the back end apart, take the rear apart, and see what happens. So
It's exciting.
yeah, got a long way to go on it. But so you're dangerously close on yours though. So you're
Yeah.
gonna drive this car. You're gonna autocross it. You're gonna come race with us. What are you
Yes,
doing?
I'm gonna definitely autocross it some. That's not the main purpose of this car. It's a big, heavy car.
Yeah.
The main thing is I want to be able to put my family in it. I want to be able to go cruising the coast events.
Oh, dude.
And be able to
Absolutely.
travel with my friends comfortably. My pickup is awesome. The one thing it's not is comfortable. I am 6'5" and 330 pounds, and stuffing all that into a single cab '66 Chevy C10
Yep.
is a lot. And we did
Yep.
everything we possibly could to create space.
Yep.
We took out of the header right behind the back seat, we dished that so the seat could lean back
Oh,
further
yeah.
into that right against the
The
window.
double metal back there,
Yeah,
yep.
and then we pushed the pedals forward and actually built a pedal box out into the engine compartment so that I can
Oh,
stretch
wow.
my legs
No
a little
kidding.
bit. And still, it's not incredibly comfortable. This car is much more comfortable.
Yeah.
And so for me, this is that car that I could take on all of the long-term events. If Finch wants to go to Texas and go do an event, I can hop in the car and go to
I love
Texas
it.
and be comfortable for the whole time. As soon as the AC works,
It
in
looks
of
like a
course.
C10.
Yeah, you're right.
That's close enough. I mean,
It identifies.
Hey, maybe I'll just I'll put a tow hitch on it and haul the C10 down behind
Hey,
it.
if we got a Dodge into the C10 show, I
Yeah.
don't see why we can't get a Chevelle in there.
I've got a C5 that identifies as a C10
Yeah,
when
there
it
you
has
go.
to give
Perfect.
rides.
It's a new world.
It works.
Yeah, brave new world. It
can-
identifies
It
as.
can be anything it wants to be. That's right. It's like Zootopia, the cartoon. It
Yeah.
can be anything it wants to be. That's fantastic. I love it. It's such a beautiful car.
Thank you, man. I'm excited about it. It's my baby.
It's your baby.
Yes, sir.
It's your baby. So, man alive. So let's go back to music a little bit
What do you wanna know?
I know that's your thing.
Yeah.
So everybody likes to tell stories on this show. So,
Okay.
give us a good, funny, something funny that I know that being on the road as a living, I know you've probably got plenty of stories.
Oh, you got to be careful about those stories.
Yeah,
though.
ease
let's
into a couple
leave
of those.
Las
But,
Vegas.
Yeah, that's actually a great story.
oh, now hang on. Has that got both of you in it?
It does.
Like, you hadn't got to say a whole lot
Let's
yet.
talk about
Do-
that story,
Do we need to
actually.
tell the Las Vegas story?
You brought it up.
So is
I'm
this
just-
the same JB story? Is this the
No.
same?
Yeah,
Vegas?
this is when JB and I were roadieing for
Oh,
James.
yeah.
So
Oh.
James was a headliner. at
Okay,
SEMA
yeah.
just, I don't know, 3-4 years ago.
So
and
let's ease into that a little
so
bit.
yeah, we were semi-famous. Just we were.
Sure, just by association.
Oh yeah. The groupies,
felt
we
like
would,
I
we
was
would,
famous
We would go
out
through
there
the
with him.
groupies and filter
Groupie.
them out.
I love
and, make sure that there was no shady ones in there. But
Groupie.
So yeah, we went out for
Harmless.
SEMA and
You're getting the second, third
Yeah.
round draft pick. Is that what you're telling me? Okay, I'm with you.
yeah,
scraps.
there was lots of brown liquor and
Lots of libations.
Yeah, one of my favorite stories with it. You want to know what Brian Finch is made of?
Tell me.
Brian Finch is made of tougher stuff than most men. See,
wow.
This is a fact. All of us went out and we rocked till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I say we rocked, I mean I was
5.
I was very, very accustomed to drinking and having a good time and being on the road. I went for it and had a great time. I had such a great time that I was stuck in bed for most of the next day.
Wow.
Until I was have to sing the national anthem. Well, Finch did everything that I did,
Yeah.
and then went straight on and had to give rides all day long out in the heat, out in the desert.
Yeah. So I literally went back to the hotel at 5-something, took a shower, met up downstairs with ACP and Kyle Tucker at 6-something to go to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway and gave rides on the Lucas Oil off-road short course in Baja Challenge cars all day long.
It was brutal.
I have no idea how he was even alive, much less like giving rides to people, because I was brutalized. I was in bed.
Yes.
I had to have, they came and gave me an IV in my room. They came to my room. Yes, I was brutalized. I think it was the desert climate. It was that it was sucking all the moisture out of your body.
Yes,
that's what it was. I think it was.
I've kind of seen that. I've kind of seen that a little bit. He is a machine.
He's a machine.
I saw that at PRI the very first year I went to PRI with the whole group. I mean, that's
some similar things.
Very similar.
Well, that's
things,
why the guy.
apparently.
That's why the guy wins Baja, because
he's professional.
That's right.
He's a real man.
It's an endurance game, is what it is,
guy.
and he's got the endurance.
Well, the crazy thing was, after giving rides for 8, 9, 10 hours off road, then I had to then drive ACP all the way back to get his car.
I forgot about this
because we started the night at the big Gran Turismo special invite only party is where we started drinking. What were we drinking?
We were drinking a straight liquor. It was brown liquor all night long.
Yeah.
And I started that. That was my fault.
Yeah, well, you asked me. You go, hey, I'm going to go to the bar. Can I get you something? I said, dealer's choice.
And that can be bad.
I think Maker's Mark. It was
Maker's Mark. And I don't like to mix my liquor with anything. I just want a little couple cubes in it. I'm going to drink it that way because I've always thought that when you put sugary stuff in it, that's what gives you a hangover. Well, it turns out that other things could give you hangovers too.
I see.
So, yeah.
Sugary stuff's been getting a bad rap the whole time. His hangover was
it was
sugar
brutal.
Was nowhere around it. But,
yeah, that one stung for a long time.
Yeah, but I had he had to do the national anthem that afternoon, or even I had to go to the big pro touring banquet.
Oh.
Didn't have time. Traffic was so bad. I didn't have time to even go back to my hotel.
Give a speech.
And
I gave an hour and a half speech.
Oh yeah. I got it and talk, and I don't know. I was like punch drunk and just and I started talking and did not stop for an hour and a half up there, just covered in mud and dirt. Didn't have a shower yet. Hadn't
I'm at the IHRA hot rod dinner, like the big banquet in front of all of the people, and I'm backstage. It was Jesse Combs prior to her passing. I was backstage, and I'm sweating after having gotten an IV and like sleeping all day long and recovering. He's over there still giving speeches. I'm getting ready to get on stage and sing the anthem, and I'm thinking I might throw up in front of all these people.
Yeah, right here in the middle.
Yeah, and since then I've had a new rule about Vegas, and that's don't go.
Don't go
to Vegas.
Don't go with Finch.
Yeah.
JB has a don't go with Finch.
Yeah.
You know what?
Or is it the other way around?
Here, I think it's JB.
I think it is JB. It must be JB.
That was the first day I met JB as well, and JB got to where he couldn't even talk.
I believe that. I've seen that.
We were coming back to the hotel, and JB was sitting in the truck behind me. He was in the back seat behind me, and I was sitting there thinking, I don't know any of these people I'm riding with. I think Salter was driving the truck.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, you're talking about PRI?
Yeah, coming home from that. I was waiting for it to hit me in the back of the head.
Oh, I believe it.
I really was. I was terrified. and every once in a while, JB from the back seat would go, and I'd go, say what? And that's all the sound he could make, dude.
That sounds about right.
And we dropped him off in the parking lot and hoped that he made it back to his hotel.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but 7 a.m. the next morning, we're off to PRI.
Ready to
and
go.
I mean, schmoozing being the pro,
working
the sponsors,
making
baby.
deals.
Nothing to it. And it was quite an education for me.
I bet it was. I want to do
do
PRI again this year. It's been a couple years since I've done that. I think I need to go do that this year.
Yeah, PRI is the best show, hands down.
Can they figure out a way to put PRI sometime not when it's like 30 below zero with
it used to be down in Florida.
Yeah, it used to be in Orlando.
I don't want to do that
years
either.
It was
like
in Florida was pretty nice. No, I mean in the wintertime.
Oh, then perfect. That sounds amazing.
October, November in Florida would be nice.
I don't mind Indianapolis at all, but like in December, that's
maybe you could do
rough.
PRI like in Biloxi or something.
There you go.
Maybe we should. Well, with all your
There are
influence,
casinos
you should
involved.
suggest that to them. They might listen.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, guys, that's segment number 2. I mean, it flies by. This has really been fun. So we're going to take another little break. Be sure to go to Instagram, Spotify, TikTok, YouTube. Give us a like, follow Slide Factory, and get Slydewayz with Barry Clapp. We'll be right back. Hey guys, listen, if you need a livery on your race car or a wrap done on your commercial vehicle, give the guys down at Graphic Effects in Murfreesboro a call, 615 896-4301. They are the best in the business at what they do. If you need a mural done inside your business or outside on a brick wall even, they can do it. If you need a logo on your garage floor, they can do it. They specialize in commercial wraps, but they can also do the single color stuff, cool looking stripes, anything else you can think of. If you need a banner, if you just need stickers, if you need something cool for your race car, give these guys a call. Graphic Effects down in Murfreesboro, 615-896-4301. Check them out.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Finch with Finch Performance, and we're just going to take a quick little peek around the shop here to see some of the different things that we work on around here. So first up, we've got some chassis in production. We've got a small backlog right now, but we're knocking out some 67 to 72 C10 stuff. We've got a really cool 67 crew cab Chevy here, C10. We've made a custom one-off Apex Predator chassis with long arm suspension all the way around. This thing's going to be pretty badass. 56 F100 with the Coyote 10-speed. Just all we got left here is really getting the supercharger installed, finishing up the wiring and a little bit of the fuel system, get it fired off. And then, of course, we're back on our Ferrari 308 custom project here with the LT5 engine and a Graziano 6-speed transaxle. So this thing is going to be full kill, badass. And that's just some of the things that we do here. So we don't just build trucks. We build a lot of everything. Main thing is we have a good time, because that's what it's about.
All right, guys, welcome back. Yeah, cue me. and go. Get Slydewayz here with Barry Clapp. We're here in the studio tonight with James Otto and Brian Finch, talking some cars, talking some music. And, man, cars are cool, man.
Oh, man.
How can people not be into cars?
I wish I wasn't, but I just can't quit them. I just can't do it, man. I've tried.
Worst thing I ever did as a kid was get in a dirt car and take it for a few laps. It wasn't mine. Old gal I was dating one time, her uncle had one, and it was up in the barn, and we were at a birthday party, and I was like, what is this, a dirt car? And they're like, yeah, you want to go to the track and drive it? And I was like, huh? Yeah, I do. Like that, and we did that.
That's a life changer, man.
Wished I'd have
You're
never
hooked.
done that. That was a huge mistake.
My dad was he built drag cars. He had funny cars and built hot rods and race cars like all of my early life, and that was the hook for me, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he took me to many drag races and just walking the pits and like seeing the drags, and it hooked me for life. I've never looked back, and it's just was in my blood from the time I was a little kid. So
I was the kid in the back of the class drawing pictures of cars rather than learning
dude.
what I was supposed to be learning. So
same.
Remember the old cartoons comic book magazine thing?
Yes, sir.
Dude, I had a subscription for that. I wish I had those. No telling what happened to them all those years ago, but learning, like, it would teach you how to draw a car with the smoke off the tires and the big back tires and the little front tires, and you could learn to draw them and all that stuff.
Yes, sir.
Dude, I did all of that. You know, it's funny. We lived 15 minutes from a drag strip.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know it existed until I was probably 20 years old. My dad was a NASCAR guy.
Oh, so you never went to a drag race, but did you go to NASCAR races?
All the time.
Oh, okay.
He had both season tickets, fall and spring, at Bristol.
Awesome.
And had a whole group of guys that went together to go do that.
And that was the golden era too. It's like Richard Petty and like
80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Oh, I love that stuff.
Is when that was, and we would go up there. Like, I went to Bristol before there was. I went to Bristol when it was just concrete on each side.
Yes, sir.
There was nothing. We sat on the grass in the turns, and there were no big bleachers or any of that stuff.
Sure.
Got caught in the rain, had to walk a mile and a half in the rain, and Dad, come on, hurry up! I'm freezing. Move it.
Toughen up.
Faster you walk, the faster we'll get to the car, and then you'll get warm.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, and that was the good old days of racing. Golly. But man, so grew up with a GTO.
Yep.
You grew up with a Chevelle.
Yep.
What'd you grow up with, Brian? You grew up building your own
Camaro,
cars, didn't you?
Mustangs.
Mustangs.
You were a Mustang guy?
I always forget you're like a Ford guy.
Yeah. I'm a Ford guy through and through. Blue oval.
But yet you have like one of the baddest Camaros on the planet.
One of the baddest C10
and one of the baddest C10 Chevys on the planet, too.
That's just a little nugget that a lot of
How
people
come
don't
you're not
know
out
about.
racing your Fords? What's going on?
You know,
you want to come in first?
It's a long story. Maybe we could tell it one day about how the Camaro that I have, which I got in 1991.
Okay,
so I've had it a minute.
Yep.
And how that came about, and it was just a flip car. And long story short, I ended up keeping it. And that's what got me into hot rodding because I had restored my Mustang GT, a Fox body, and I painted it, put T-tops in it, was driving it, and I wanted something to work on, and I had this old ratty Camaro, and that kind of got me into the hot rodding piece. So that was like my first, build.
Yep.
And then that's what got me into autocrossing.
Yeah.
The first ever Good Guys autocross in Nashville in 2006.
Wow.
And the rest is history.
Wow.
So, but I have owned a Mustang at least one every single day of my life since I was 15 years old.
Wow.
There's not been one single day since I was 15 that I did not own at least one Mustang.
But I never see you drive one. Like
I
ever.
know. Like
Literally
I've
ever.
never even seen you in a
feel like-
Ford of any kind.
I feel like I'm around you a lot, and I never see you
Except
drive
the
a
truck.
Ford, and yet you talk about being a Ford guy.
I drive
Just
a Ford
the-
every day. I
just
got
the
my
truck.
F-250.
Well, the
truck.
truck, yeah. I guess, yeah.
Get to share the ride Mustang. I mean, where do you think that came from?
Dad used to say, you race a Chevrolet. You pull it to the track with a Ford. That's what Daddy used to say.
I like that. I
You
like
make
that.
sure
That's
you
good.
get it there.
Right.
You pull it to the track with a Ford.
I'm a hot rodder.
Yeah,
I'm a hot rodder, but I do owe the world a top class Mustang Finch build.
Yeah.
You do.
Which is coming. I've actually picked up an 82 GT. So
Yeah.
I've got me a
Oh,
4i.
I like the 4Eyes, man.
Got
I
me
mean,
a
that's-
4i now.
Very
And
cool.
As far as Fox bodies are concerned, the 4i is the one I like.
yeah,
It was
yes.
cool. It's a cool looking car.
It'll be running the full complement of the all new Detroit Speed suspension, which they're going to launch it officially at SEMA.
Oh,
this
Awesome.
so
year.
this is like a
So,
collab type build.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it's going to have a slightly controversial drivetrain.
Oh, boy.
Heart
I bet it's not a
transplant.
blue oval then, huh?
Heart transplant.
I mean, it could be blue, might not be oval. I don't know.
All right.
we can paint the block blue, right?
But it will not be an LS.
It will. Oh,
Put it
well.
like that.
Okay.
That's okay.
So
there's-
no LS. You're not putting a Dodge motor in this Ford, are you?
No, Dodge motor. Could be a Chrysler, but
I love it. Yeah, so like that's what you had when we first got together was the Mustang, and you were doing the. I remember you first had me wrap that first Mustang, and I thought I was just starstruck, dude. So
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
know the story how we even met. So I met Brian. I had seen him on the Are You Faster Than a Redneck
Oh, yeah.
TV show. You remember
Yeah.
that? I had seen him, and then one day just driving down through Mount Juliet, I saw that white Camaro that I'd seen on the TV show, and I was
Yep.
like,
Hang on.
that's that guy on that TV show. Angela's like, what TV show? She don't care. She don't
Right.
care nothing about cars. It's
Oh,
Days
so
of Our
fun.
same as
Lives,
my
what was
wife.
that?
I know, that's all she watches on
Yeah,
TV.
same as my wife.
She could care less about racing cars, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's that dude that was on that TV show. And I wonder if he lives around here somewhere, like it's so funny that we literally live 5 minutes apart.
Yes, you do.
And have for years and didn't know it, And then go to an LS Fest. And of course, I'm there to compete in the drift show. And I see this white Camaro again. He's out there in the autocross. I'm thinking, that's pretty cool. And I see this guy getting out of it. And, I don't know anybody. I don't know anything about it, just my little drift crew.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I told somebody about it. And he's like, go talk to him. And I'm like, that guy's famous. I don't want to bother him. You know what I mean? He's somebody. I don't want to bother him. I'm
Yeah.
just this kid. Just so I finally get up the courage, right, to go over and just stick my hand out and say, hey, dude, I saw you on the TV show. I'm kind of a fan. I thought that's pretty cool to see you and meet you in real life. And he goes, you got a helmet? And I was like, yeah. He goes, go. I got to make one more run. I need some ballast. Come ride this
Hop in
thing with
here,
me. And I was
yeah.
like, heck yeah, I'll do that. So he scared the ever-living crap out of me, dude.
man.
That car would accelerate so hard and then stop so hard. I didn't even know what autocross was.
Yep.
I'd never ridden in one. I'd never really paid much attention to it.
Sure.
And we left out of there on the Alpha that block, and I almost blacked out, dude. That thing left so hard. And then he drugged the oil pan or the cross member or something when he hit the brake like that, and throw me out the window doing the curves and stuff. It was freaking awesome.
Same thing. The way that I met Brian was had just come home from a motorcycle trip to South Dakota with Travis Tritt, actually.
Oh, cool.
I'd been up there for a week and did like a whole motorcycle trip up there, got back, unloaded my motorcycle and was downtown Nashville, unloading my motorcycle from the bus. And for whatever reason, I chose to go drive by the fairgrounds that day. I drove past, which is not the easiest way to get to my house. It was kind of like the slowest and most peaceful drive instead of going out on the highway. So I took that way, and I drove by the fairgrounds, and there's all these cars out here doing autocross. And I had never been to an autocross event, but I'm a big muscle car guy. Love hot rods, and like, I'm going to stop and I'm going to check this thing out. And so I spin my bike around and I roll up in there, and I sat and watched these guys like taking laps, and I watched Finch take laps. I watched JB take laps, and the first lap I ever took in an autocross car was with JB. And he said he thought that I was a Christian singer because I kept going, "Oh God, oh God."
That's awesome.
Because I had no idea that those cars could corner like that. And like, I mean, you were going to these corners like, man, there's no way that we are going to make that corner. We are going to slide off course and go into the fence. Yeah. And sure enough, man, they were braking and hitting hard and coming through the corners. I was like, man, this is for me. Like I always own hot rods. And like I said, I built a bunch of hot rods, had a bunch of hot rods, but never had one that actually handled. This car, this Chevelle, would corner on its door handles from the factory. I mean, it leaned hard. It was terrible. There was nothing performance about driving that car. So actually being in a real performance car and with a driver that knew what they were doing was incredible. And I met Finch that day, and that was the beginning of my transition into just having cool looking hot rods into being into like actual performance vehicles.
That was the day your truck got really expensive.
Oh my God.
I remember you went back and got it.
I did. Right? Well, I was like, it's definitely not built for the course, but I want to do this. It was a long bed. My grandfather's 66 C10.
You had just kind of finished it.
I did.
And its first build, like in stock form, like a restoration.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The white truck.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then he
Still had the 6-cylinder.
Came and hang out with us for a day, and it was like, get the knife out.
Yeah.
It was it.
All of a sudden, it's a short bed, and and the 6-cylinder's gone, and it's got a 6-speed, and it's got an LS, and
tires is wide.
Absolutely, and it completely changed everything. But honestly, it was that day that changed a lot of things for me, because I was like, instead of just collecting hot rod magazines, because I had literally racks and racks of hot rod magazines all the way from high school. I'd carried them around milk crates from the time I was in high school and loved cars and was all into it, but didn't really have anybody in Nashville that was into the scene. Most of my friends were all musicians and either couldn't afford a car or, it just wasn't their thing. They liked them, but, didn't know anything about them. And it was like, hey, I found a crew of people that are into the same thing I'm into, and we've been friends ever since. And had lots of adventures ever since that
Get
day.
to come hang out with the guys that were actually in the magazine.
Right, yes, doing all the stuff.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, like you've had the Hot Rod magazine.
Yeah, Steve Rupp, tech editor for Hot Rod Magazine, has been at my house all week.
That's amazing. Unbelievable.
Those are the kind of connections you make when you're nice people.
Yeah, that's right. When you do the right thing, you treat people right, good things happen to you. I believe that every little bit.
We owe James a lot of money. He would have just rode on by.
Just say, hey, that really looks really cool, but I'm going to just go home.
His house would probably be built next to Kid Rock's right now.
Yeah. Living
right?
3 times the size of the house.
Here I am. Yeah. Here I am.
And you'd be driving a Tesla or a Tesla truck, Cybertruck.
Oh, God, no. Oh,
he's towing his Tesla with a Cybertruck.
Oh, gross. That's so gross.
You do have the one Tesla guy that shows up for the autocross deal.
Yeah.
Brings that thing in. Is it a Plaid? It's a Plaid. And
I don't mind Teslas. This Tesla truck is terrible.
It comes in and it's on slicks.
Oh, no, they're amazing. They're fast.
That sucker's fast.
The acceleration is hard to beat. Next to, I mean, separate from like a real like drag car.
Yeah.
What else is there that
on an unprepped surface? Nothing launches harder than a Tesla that's been put into ludicrous mode, that's got the right tires on it, so maybe got some shocks.
They're unbelievable.
Unreal acceleration off the line. You can't beat them. Actually, like SCCA, you'll see some of the bigger sanctioning bodies will set up courses.
Yep.
You'll look at them, and the start line will have like a 90-degree jog left, 90-degree jog right before it goes into the slaloms, just to level the playing field
to keep
with
the Tesla
all-wheel drive
from
cars that can launch like that.
Right, that's unbelievable.
Because if you give them a straightaway off the line, they've already got half a second on you.
That's insane.
Just when they leave the line.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I heard, or I just read the other day that Elon is saying, and take that with a large grain of salt. Elon says a lot of things, but
Yeah.
he says that the new Roadster is 0 to 60 in 1 second.
How is that?
1 second.
How is that even possible?
I have no idea.
That's like a light switch.
I know. Yeah. 1 second. How is that possible?
How many G's does that put on your body?
I have no idea, but it's
They're gonna be
that doesn't
people-
sound even. That doesn't sound.
I don't know of a tire that could
Can do that.
Yeah.
do that on a regular strip. Now,
There's
I
gotta
get it
be
on a sticky drag strip, but I mean, what conditions?
I can't even imagine.
A normal person can't stand those G's.
No.
You'll have
Black
people
out.
blacking out.
Yeah. Well,
How about black out from the excitement of taking a green flag every time I go and run a round track race? The first time. It's so funny, man. That happened to me 3 or 4 times at the fairgrounds running those trucks. I'd be coming down the back stretch. It's only on the first green flag. If there was a restart, it never happened again. But on the first initial green flag, it gets so exciting.
oh yeah.
And the butterflies and all that, and your spotter's talking to you, and you're coming down the back stretch, and he's telling you to tighten your belts a little bit one more time,
yeah.
clean the carburetor out so it doesn't bog on you, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And you get in the middle of the turn, and I'm always back in the pack. I'm never near the front, so I can't see the green flag anyway. But
You're just waiting for the noise.
he starts yelling green, 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 go, 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 and I hit the hammer and like ooh, about black out, and then come back. Okay, I'm good, like that.
Yeah, that's when you're still full of hope and excitement.
Yeah.
and reality comes around, smacks you square in the ass.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's happened.
Yeah, that kind of racing's fun though. That's good stuff.
It's a good time. Like
Yeah.
I don't have a picture of that thing up. I ran that truck 3 years maybe. I didn't have the money to run it full time, but I ran 5 or 6 races a year back then, and
That'd be fun.
it was a good time.
I bet it was.
You're out there rubbing door handles with some guys.
Yeah.
And of course, I was new to the rap game, so my truck looked like the nines. It looked
Right.
awesome.
Well,
And
maybe Slide Factory can sponsor another round track car.
I mean, it's
Get
possible.
back into it.
There's this new thing that Chad, had Chad in here last week, of course,
Okay.
and he's been a round track racer for 40 years.
Uh-huh.
There's this new thing called the CRA Street Stocks, and they look like the 80s Monte Carlos.
Oh,
and
that'd
they
be fun.
Run them on the big track over here, and they're not that expensive. And
That'd
I'm
be
like,
fun to go do.
why did you tell me about that? It's not like I'm building a GTO and a truck and I got a Corvette drift car. It's not like I don't have.
Take it back.
I
I've
got
always wanted
plenty
to do a little dirt racing, like dirt track racing
Well,
would be fun.
That's where I started.
I've never done any. I would love to do it. It just looks like a blast. I love going to dirt track races. Like that's just the most redneck fun there is.
So this will blow your mind then. So think about this. Our most popular video on TikTok is David Counts.
Yep.
Okay.
Talking about rear steer in a dirt late model
Okay.
and explaining that and how it works. So you've seen me drift.
Yes.
You've slidden sideways around a couple of corners. You understand how that
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
works. So you've seen a dirt late model come around a corner sideways,
of course.
yawed out.
Oh yeah.
It's not sliding.
It's all haunched up.
It hunches up, and the left rear tire, that whole thing moves forward 5 inches,
What?
and it rear steers, and you have to turn into it to drive it around the corner.
Really?
But it's not sliding as much as you think it is.
Wow.
And that blew my mind.
I didn't know that
When
either.
I raced them 25 years ago, they didn't have any of that.
So it's built into the suspension to do that. So
Built
how are
into
they
the
doing
suspension.
that then?
Just
Is
through lever action and through once it gets up on, there's this big center spring on a 3-link that then rockers the rear end forward. So
Okay.
when it gets loads, it'll haunch up. You'll see the back end haunch up, and then that inside tire will drive forward.
Okay.
It's basically
It'll be all the way
trying
up
to
in the
turn.
body.
So
Wow.
the rear
Half of it.
tires are trying to
Yeah,
turn
you can
the
see
car.
that. You can
Yeah.
see that when you're like watching them.
When they come out of turn 2, you can see in the left rear tire will be all the way halfway up in the body. You can't see half of it.
Yeah.
And it's standing up like that too.
I definitely want to go. Now I want to go to the dirt track races right now.
Yeah, David keeps he keeps talking to me. Hey, we could go, come up here and we're gonna get with so and so, and we'll get you a car to drive. And you can go out and test with us. And I told him, I said, man, I want to do it so bad. I said, but
It would be a bad thing.
I got a feeling
Yeah.
It'd be a
would
bad
send
thing.
me down a bad road.
Yeah,
would be a
man.
bad thing.
It's an expensive. That's an
It'd be
expensive.
another hobby that I
yep.
can't afford.
Yes,
and don't
sir.
have time for.
Well, see,
Yep.
like
would die trying to make it work.
one of my really good friends, one of my old business partners, is a guy named. It's a guy that up in Clarksville that owns the wheel shop, the Ashby family, a guy named Steve Ashby.
Oh yeah.
And he has 4 sons that race dirt late models
Ah.
up there at Clarksville.
Mm-hmm.
And every once in a blue moon, they need a field filler
Oh.
because the purse is based on how many cars show up.
Okay.
And I've been up there a couple of times to start a car and to run one of their spare cars just to make sure they get, because they win.
Sure.
They're good. They win.
Yeah.
So they want to make sure they get their full purse.
Well, I get that. I don't complain.
You know what I mean? So he always brings, he's got 2 or 3 extra cars laying around. Come up
God
here and drive
bless
this
him.
car. I'm like, all right.
That's awesome. That'd be so much fun.
Yeah. So, funny story about that. I had, the first time I ever got in a dirt late model, I've driven manual cars. I've driven all kinds of crazy stuff. I never driven anything that was A, direct drive, or B, I don't even know what you call it, the way those transmissions work in those cars. There's not a stick. There's 2 levers standing up there.
Right.
And it's a 4-speed. Actually, no, it's a 2-speed. It's a power glide.
Okay.
So, picture this. You've driven manual cars. You understand how the clutch works, all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you're sitting in the pits. The car's running. And without pressing the clutch in, you jam it in first gear. And it goes, boom.
Okay.
And it doesn't move. And it's still idling, but it's in first gear. And as you depress the clutch, it begins to pull and move.
What? Why? What's going on?
I don't know. I don't know how it works.
How does that work?
Black magic.
It does not
like
make any
magic.
sense at all.
That doesn't make any sense.
And
Think about
then as you jerk it, as you release the clutch, you cram it in second gear, and now it pulls in second gear without the clutch.
That's wild.
So you go out and do your hot laps, and then you come in off the banking, and the little official's waving his flag and trying to tell you, and you mash the clutch and put it back in first gear, and you're holding the clutch in and standing on the brake yelling, "Get out of the way!" because you're about to run over this poor guy and kill him. And that was my main experience running a dirt car.
Yeah.
I could not get that in my head.
Well,
I hit the back of the trailer twice in the pits trying to pull it into my pit stall. I could not figure that out.
Yeah, that's rubbing your stomach and
You
patting
just
your
keep
head.
pushing harder on the clutch.
It was so bizarre. I could not figure that out. Ugh. All right, guys, we're going to take another little break. That's my funny story for the night. My gosh. You talk about humbling, though, for a guy that knows how to drive. Right?
Right.
And I could not figure that out to save my life.
It'd be very frustrating.
It was bad. So we're going to take a little break, hit those social medias, call somebody and tell them they're missing a heck of a show. Get on here and watch us. We'll be right back. We'll get Slydewayz with Barry Clapp. Hey guys, listen, if you need a livery on your race car or a wrap done on your commercial vehicle, give the guys down at Graphic Effects in Murfreesboro a call, 615-896-4301. They are the best in the business at what they do. If you need a mural done inside your business or outside on a brick wall even, they can do it. If you need a logo on your garage floor, they can do it. They specialize in commercial wraps, but they can also do the single color stuff, cool looking stripes, anything else you can think of. If you need a banner, if you just need stickers, if you need something cool for your race car, give these guys a call. Graphic Effects down in Murfreesboro, 615-896-4301. Check them out.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Finch with Finch Performance, and we're just going to take a quick little peek around the shop here to see some of the different things that we work on around here. So first up, we've got some chassis in production. We've got a small backlog right now, but we're knocking out some 67 to 72 C10 stuff. We've got a really cool 67 crew cab Chevy here, C10. We've made a custom one-off Apex Predator chassis with long arm suspension all the way around. This thing's going to be pretty badass. 56 F100 with the Coyote 10-speed. Just all we got left here is really getting the supercharger installed, finishing up the wiring and a little bit of the fuel system, get it fired off. And then, of course, we're back on our Ferrari 308 custom project here with the LT5 engine and a Graziano 6-speed transaxle. So this thing is going to be full kill, badass. And that's just some of the things that we do here. So we don't just build trucks. We build a lot of everything. Main thing is we have a good time because that's what it's about.
Guys, welcome back. Get Slydewayz with me, Barry Clapp, the great Brian Finch in the house, Mr. James Otto in the house. We got kind of a special treat for you here. We've been talking about cars, been talking about James's killer old 72 Chevelle that he's brought in here with us. So One of the things that's left to be done to this beautiful old car is the stripe that you designed yourself.
Yeah, so, I've seen so many SS clone Chevelles, and I didn't want to do that with this car. It was a Malibu. It was a 72 Malibu. But I always wondered what would Chevrolet have done with a Rally Sport Chevelle? Like, if that was an option in 72, what would that look like?
I see. And
so, we did the hood vents in up top, like you'd seen on like Rally Sport Camaros and stuff, and they do them on the SS as well. But the whole idea with this car was to keep it pretty stock, or at least in appearance. Get it looking real slick, knock the ugly off of it, and try to give it what would a Rally Sport look like. And that's what we're doing with these stripes. Is kind of reimagining what that might look like.
I got you. So like a more fancy version of this car would have had a piece of stainless down there?
And it did have.
Like this car had a piece of stainless down at the bottom.
This car had the stainless at the bottom, just a stainless piece at the bottom. Instead of putting that back, we're going to put the RS stripe on the bottom.
The RS that you created.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Well, Mr. Jimmy, what do we need to do production-wise here to make that a possibility? I'm ready.
we just need to walk over there and switch cameras.
Just do it? All right, well, let's do it. Let's get this thing show on the road here.
Excited.
Get your big S shirt, your Sticker Man shirt.
Sticker Man. Dang, that would have been
Sticker
perfect.
Man.
You could have. Here comes the Sticker Man.
No.
Do I just sit here?
Broadcast a big S in the sky.
Do I just get to sit here and drink cocktails while you do this work? Oh, this is amazing. This is my favorite part of the podcast.
Yeah, play by play. That's how he's peeling back the backing. Good sticker placement. I like how he's following the line there.
Amazing.
Ooh, that razor action. The blade. See how he has it with his left hand? That is a professional that works.
Absolutely. I'm going to get a little masking
See how
tape
he holds
here.
the squeegee with his teeth.
Look at him.
Keeping both hands free.
He's a skilled.
See, the professional thing, putting the strips of tape on his shirt so they're readily. Oh yeah,
Look at that. Yeah.
And make X's. Would that make you feel more comfortable if I make
It makes him feel
Yeah, put the X's on there.
it's like Vegas.
make you feel more like at home, more at home. All right.
Now, what brand tape do you
Put the
use?
pasties
for,
on.
Is there a
I
particular
do not
brand? Is
have
it
a tape
3M
sponsor.
or?
I do not have a tape sponsor.
Do not have a tape
That is
sponsor,
the
We need
way
to
so-
change that. We need to change that.
So 3M, if you're out there,
There are 3Ms.
Sticker Man could use a good tape sponsor.
There are many, many options actually. So we are going to lay this baby right here. We're going to lay the whole stripe, and then we're going to come back and put the RS section on the actual front fender up there.
So for those of you that maybe can't hear him because the audio is a little bit bad, he's going to lay the whole stripe first.
Yes.
Along the length of the car,
thing.
right? Because the stripe and making sure that it's following the lines, that door opening gap, that's got to be perfect.
Yes,
right?
it
It's got to
does.
be perfect. So he's going to lay the main stripe first, and then he's going to come cut in the RS emblem.
And that top, the thin stripe, we're actually putting on the door. So when you open the door, that little thin stripe will be at the very bottom of there.
Yeah, see, most shops would try to put both just on the rocker. Mm-hmm. Only the true professionals would attempt to move that stripe up on the door because you've got so many more other angles at play.
Right? It's a lot. It's a lot he's working with.
Yes.
Now
Do
I
not-
went with.
Do not try this at home. I am a professional.
I went with the sticker option because I decided that if I hated it when it was actually done, that it would be easy to peel off. And thankfully, Barry agrees. This was the right choice.
Yeah, sandpaper and paint are not as
It's just not as forgiving at all.
not at all. No, agree.
But I am excited to see how it looks. Tie in that white top with the white brake calipers. and
See how the tape tore there? See, a quality tape wouldn't have happened.
See, this is my guide to be able to put it exactly where I want it.
He's talking with the squeaky.
Is he mic'd up down there? Because I don't hear him at all.
That's why we got to give him the play-by-play.
Himself.
Oh, there! Look at that.
Now he's just freehanding it. Look at this.
That's like having three hands.
Like, yeah, when I'm on the table, I use my stomach, but when I'm laying on the ground, I just bite it.
All right, something about his stomach, and he's late for dinner. I don't know.
I wouldn't want to use my stomach if I had to do things on the level, because my stomach is anything but level. Feels me more like seesaw action.
But really, what is truly amazing when you watch Barry put stripes on a car or even a full wrap or a decal, you really appreciate the experience of the squeegee.
Oh.
If any of you out there have tried to put a decal on at a show or you're at an
Oh my
event,
God.
and they give you a decal package and you got to put it on, and that sucker wrinkles up the first pass, and you're over there going, "Do you have any extra door badges?" And
I have done
I
that.
screwed mine up.
Yep. At Optima, every time that they have me put the stickers, the Optima stickers on at the races, mine look terrible. I need Barry to come up and put my stickers on at Optima. That would be way better. I need to helicopter him in, I think. I mean, how baller would that be anyways? Your sticker guy gets flown in.
Well, that's the only reason I partnered up with him, actually. I mean, anybody can put on an event, but to have a sticker guy at every show,
I mean,
to do the work.
that's next level, dude.
It is.
That is next level. Are you going to wrap that around into the little lip of the fender too? Is that going to happen?
We can do that if you would like.
I mean,
Well, but you got to be careful there, because when you wrap a corner, you always have a chance of peeling off. So
yeah, you're
he
right.
will freehand
But he's the guy that.
cut it to follow the contour of the fender, so there's less chance of it peeling back.
Oh boy.
Look at that action.
I'm looking at this. This is sharp, man.
That's an experienced finger right there.
I'm gonna save the jokes. Now, I had jokes, and I'm gonna save those jokes. No fingering
Oh,
jokes.
if that finger could talk. Now, see, most people would be afraid to
I'm
peel
afraid
the
looking
vinyl
at it.
back off the door.
I would never. I would not. I would be afraid that would be when I would mess things up, and it would just stick and create a disaster. It would
It's all
wrinkle
about
up.
the pressure, right? It's pressure points. It's like an acupuncturist or what in the suit.
Yes.
It's about applying the right pressure at the right time. But before you squeegee, you got to know it's right and commit.
He just squeegeed, so he must think it's right.
Yes, it's going on. This is it.
I'm pretty excited to see this result here, guys.
Now we're gonna peel the paper back, and it's gonna be magical.
I've been I did this in Photoshop many years ago, and I've been imagining what the stripe would look like, and here we are today, actually happening live on air.
So this is an editor. He doesn't get 2 or 3 takes. There's not a pile of failed sticker attempts off to the side.
This is the
This
first
is one and
try.
done.
He's gotten quiet down there, though. Like, he's really
He's focused because he's gonna cut them in now. He's gonna trim them in. This is the key part, because you don't get to cut twice. Look at that.
I mean,
Look at that.
professional.
Ooh, pulling the backing now. That's always a big critical part. Because you don't have proper adhesion, your decal can pull up. Now he went back and brushed back on the sticker, so I think he had a little doubt if he had proper adhesion. Maybe he didn't squeegee that part fully. See, it's key to keep your backing as flat to the surface as possible when you're pulling it back. A lot of people try to pull straight out, and that's a mistake they make because it'll lift the sticker.
Barry, I think this is going to work out with the door being the actual line.
Oh, yes.
I think that's going to look
It
really
enhances
nice.
that
It
spacing.
does.
I think that was a good call.
I think I was a little worried that might not be the thing, but it might be the thing. Oh boy.
This could be a whole new thing, like commentary.
Right?
You know, like next time he wraps a car, we could do live commentary.
It's like Snoop Dogg at the Olympics.
There you go. Who's back? He's got it.
So that's it without the RS. Now, we're going to take our little piece that we made that has the RS in it, and we're going to peel that off and put this in its place.
And
But the reason I laid the full length of it was so that I could put a tape line and make sure that it's straight. Because we don't want it to be crooked.
we do not.
Crooked sticker. That's a rookie.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Crooked could be bad.
You get that at my house.
Mine too. So now we're putting that RS real close to that front fender lip there.
We're going to peel this off to expose, and I'm going to lay my tape line right along the top of that white so that I know where to put.
See, that fender piece is a sacrificial piece, just to ensure the straightness of the entire arm.
Keeps the whole line going. Look at that. That's so clean.
On.
Now, what type of film do you use, Barry?
What is that thing?
So this is actually Avery Dennison wrap material that we use every day at our shop.
Okay.
Graphic Effects in Murfreesboro. And, you know, 3M's a great brand, Oracal's a great brand. We kind of prefer the Avery Dennison stuff over the other two just because we've used it for so long. We're very comfortable with how it installs, and we just like the way it fits better.
Well, it's the same way in the paint world, right? There's several manufacturers that are all top tier, you know, and it just really comes down to personal preference, what you use every day, what you're comfortable with, what works. Not that anyone's better than the other.
So we will get the old squeegee back in my...
Do you want to look at this photo before you put that down there to kind of see what I was looking at? Yeah, let me show you.
Bring it over here and you can eyeball this for me.
Yeah.
All right, folks, James has come off the bench.
Yeah,
He's going in.
You get some plumber's crack back there while you're...
Oh,
that's,
my view is not so good.
Yeah, take a look at that. Yep, that's what I'm talking about right there.
About an inch.
I think that's exactly right. Yes, sir.
We've got the room for that. Line those two up.
So just a little background on the Chevelle. So as James mentioned, it's on a full roaster shop chassis. It's got bare 14-inch 6-piston brakes all the way around, 4 design wheels wrapped, of course, in BF Goodrich rubber. It's got a 600 horsepower LS with a 6-speed T56 Magnum.
Prepped by Bowler.
Prepped by Bowler. Just a pretty cool. It's full custom stainless exhaust on it all the way out. MagnaFlow mufflers.
Yeah, you hooked me up. I appreciate that.
What else we got under this thing? It's a Holley fuel injection.
Holley fuel injection.
So it is a throttle body style injection, port injected, but with the throttle body for air control. So you get the classic look with the old school air cleaner, but still get all the conveniences of the fuel injection.
That's one of the things that I really wanted on this car was to keep, again, we wanted it to look like a heritage Chevelle, something that Chevrolet could have done. So when you lift the hood, it looks like a small block Chevrolet. If you look at the front and you look at where the turn signals would be, those are cold air intakes, and those feed directly to the intake, and it's breathing cold air, and it is... It basically is, you know, it looks like a heritage Chevelle, like a something that Chevrolet could have done. That's the theme of this car. I didn't want it to look too futuristic. I see a lot of Chevelles that get, like, you know, a really modern interior in them, and like a really modern motor in them, and something that looks futuristic. You know, I like something that looks a little bit more classic, and that's what I went with this car.
You know, that's the same with me. Over the years, I've matured from, you know, I used to love the full-on custom interiors where they were just wild and crazy.
Me too. I like to
where now it's like I prefer just a little twist, like some nice seats, but with the classic dash, classic door panels.
Yeah.
You know, carpet. So just a little enhancement on what the factory had. That's what I prefer now versus the complete custom.
And that's what we're doing with the interior of this car. Is we're going with the original green vinyl, but it will be wrapped around some custom seats, and we're actually got rid of the original spring rear seat, and he's going to build more like of a bucket style into the rear, but it'll still look like something Chevrolet could have done. Everything when you look inside the car will look kind of classic. Man, I got to say, I really like the stripe. I think that it ties in really good with the top and with the calipers, and that's what I was looking for.
Oh, exactly. That stripe finishes that car.
Yep, that's what I wanted. Thank you so much, Barry. That looks killer.
That was a lot of fun.
But that's just how crazy what Barry does is to the, you know, he has done so many vehicles for us.
Look how
where
quick
we've
that
had
was.
we've had just really cool trucks and stuff like that, like JB's truck, the
Yeah.
red Dodge that we just did,
Yeah, that was a
where
fun
they
one.
were cool pieces, but we turned it over to him to add a little bit of vinyl, and man, did it change the whole
elevates it.
vehicle. It
Yeah.
changed it completely.
I've said for years and years, I've been doing vinyl on cars for 20 to 25 years, and I've said over and over, I don't know how many times, it still amazes me what just a little bit of vinyl
Yeah.
will do to anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nothing. That was, if you
Took you 10 minutes.
like legit, we do 20-minute segments. We're 15 minutes into this segment,
That's amazing.
and it's done. And it's just a beautiful extra little touch.
I think it looks classic, man. To me, that what that stripe did was give it what I said would be in like an RS Chevelle. What would that look like?
Yeah.
Instead of having big stripes down the hood and being a SS copy like so many, it's original and it's different. And man, that really finished it off for me. Thank you for that.
I like the way the hood scoops look in it.
Thank
I don't know that I've ever seen one like that. Is that something you guys did custom?
We did it custom. So if you look, you got to take a look at the hood. It's not just putting hood vents on top of a flat hood. We actually went in and bead rolled the top in there and actually set them down in it and like French them into the top of the hood, and it looks like they belong there from the factory. And you see it, that's the detail you see on a stock like Camaro, or like an RS or an SS Camaro, or the Novas were like that. And I never saw them on a Chevelle, but I wanted something to vent the heat from the car, under hood heat, and that gives it the look that I wanted, and also vents that heat. So
those are open to the inside.
Yes,
so
they are open.
Okay, I got you. And you said that's like off of Nova.
Yeah, well, it would be
or an older
all the
older Chevelle Malibu.
Those are custom billet pieces.
Wow!
Yeah, so we designed them off of the old ice cube tray style ones that were on the Camaros. I took a set of those.
The big block hoods.
Yeah, the big block
I got
hoods.
you. I knew I'd seen something similar to it, but it didn't look exactly this. So you built them custom.
Well, like the grill on this car, we took and did the 72 style grill with the slats in it like that, and we also brought that to the air intakes, which are used to be the turn signals.
Where the turn signals were.
And
I love the way
that was
that
just a
looks.
lens.
Yeah,
Yep.
I love that.
Before, so-
Yeah, that looks really cool.
And if you also look at the front of the car, look at the bumper, that where you would have had the license plate mount on the front. We also did that in the bumper to be able to breathe more air and pull more air and keep the car cool.
I see. And the big lip underneath,
Yep.
all about keeping her cool.
Yes, sir.
I love it. It's a beautiful piece.
Custom.
It's fantastic.
I love it, man. Great job.
Yeah, that's a really nice little touch.
The sticker man can.
So
He can.
So we're going to
indeed.
let them in on the accident that I cut them too big, and that's why they're fitting across the bottom of the door instead of.
I
Why you
wouldn't.
gotta go
I
tell
wouldn't.
others?
I wouldn't let them in on it because honestly, when we
I think
studied,
it works. It's
It
done.
does. It looks fantastic.
no, it's done. There's no sense of redoing that. And when I looked at the Photoshop that I did, that's exactly how I did it in Photoshop, and it worked out great.
Yeah, I kind of dig that. I like the stripe being on the bottom of the door.
Me too.
I think that's really cool looking.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you guys out there need any kind of graphics or decal work, I'm going to tell you right now,
Barry's the guy.
100% Graphic
man.
Effects, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Hit up Barry Clapp and get out of his way. The best advice I'm going to give you.
Yep.
You can give him your ideas, tell him
Yep.
what your dream, what your vision is, and then
Yep.
get out of his way. The best thing, you'll be so happy.
I was about 17 years old, and I was at my dad's house, and a guy that I went to school with had brought a car over for me to pinstripe, and we had gone to AutoZone, or maybe it was Pet Boys back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And bought some colored 1/4-inch, pinstripe tape, and I'll never forget. Dad came wandering down. What are you doing? And I was like, this guy wants me to stripe his car, and what are you gonna do to it? And the kid kind of looked at me and said, I don't know, do whatever you think looks good. And my dad went, Lord, don't tell that boy that. And so that's kind of how this whole thing was born, man. I just, I pinstriped a couple of cars for some guys that I worked with or went to school with back in the day. I pinstriped my own little car that I was driving to high school. The second or third job I got out of high school was like a painter's helper. I thought I wanted to learn how to paint. And the first time I was outside in the blazing sun with a piece of a ruler and some I guess, 1,000 grit sandpaper wrapped around it, sanding and this, and I saw this little trail of red go down through the water, and I was like, and I was bleeding, and I didn't have any fingerprints. I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah, hey,
this is not for me.
That is so much work. I have a lot of respect for painters and body guys. The labor that it takes to make that happen, to make a beautiful finish, is intense.
Absolutely.
Now Barry can in an afternoon, he can change your vehicle more than 6 months at a paint shop.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it,
pull it off.
Peel it off and start over.
Well, and that was the best part about this stripe is in my mind and on Photoshop, I thought it looked cool, but I didn't want to commit to paint because I was worried if it would actually come off. And now seeing it like this, I love it. It's amazing, and it also protects the paint on my car on those bottom rockers, which are gonna get beat up because I'm gonna drive this car a lot.
Do you think
that'll help a little bit.
Would it withstand a jack?
Oh man, stop it now! Why you got to bring that up? God.
No, it won't take a jack stand. It won't take a jack slipping
take a jack
off.
falling off.
That'll probably do away with it.
Anybody that's been following this build, what Brian is so kindly alluding to was I had the car up on a jack and was doing some work underneath the car, and luckily I got out from underneath the car. The jack slipped and absolutely crushed
the rocker,
of the car.
Fresh
the pinch
paint.
weld, fresh paint, the whole thing. It got the pinch weld, pushed it up, and the rocker. And luckily, it didn't go past the body line at the bottom of the car, and we were able to fix it pretty easily.
It didn't get the door.
Ooh, no, it would have gotten the rear quarter.
It was behind the door.
It would have gotten the rear quarter, and it would have been awful. But it stopped at the very bottom line.
He was that close to distorting the quarter, which would have been...
Because there's a little body seam.
Dude, I'm not ashamed to say that I shed a single tear. It was awful. And
I can't imagine.
Well, it set the project back 6 months.
It did.
Because you just shut the garage door and walked away?
Yeah, I just walked away. Because there was no working on it at that point. I was just sick to my stomach.
I can feel you on that. If the first thing that happens to my truck, I'll be like,
oh yeah, it's going to happen.
My best advice:
just go ahead and scratch it.
Go ahead and put a chip in it.
Yeah.
Just get it over with.
Just get it
Go
over
ahead and
with.
drop the broom on the door or something.
Do something, and then
And then
get
just
over
drive
it that night, and then you have the most fun you'll ever have.
Yep.
The rest of the time.
I'm ready. All right, guys, that's another segment. So
let's talk about one thing real quick while we got them on
here.
here.
Cool.
You guys may notice we've got some new stuff on the table here.
Oh yeah.
Most importantly, right, Simpson.
Yeah. Check that
So
out.
big news. This is the first time you're hearing this.
Breaking news.
Those of you guys that have
where's my ticker tape?
coming in hot.
Breaking news.
So with our Share the Ride program, if you guys have been around that
Yep.
and seen what we're doing with the Share the Ride, Simpson has come on board, and we are now part of Team Simpson. And we have all new Share the Ride helmets. So those of you that have sweated through literally riding with us and smelling the rides of the past as you go, we've got brand new helmets just in time for the Triple Crown event.
Triple Crown, yeah.
So we're going to be at Triple Crown event. If you're going to be in Nashville or anywhere near Nashville, come to Triple Crown.
Yes.
That's going to be the place to be.
It's the biggest hot rod show in America.
It is. It's going to be massive.
You will see
massive.
You will see the most beautiful
stoked.
cars you have ever seen.
Every big name in the hot rod world will be at Triple Crown.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Yeah.
You will be. Your jaw will drop at the celebrities that are there.
Yeah.
We're going to be there giving rides. We got 15 cars
Love
that
it.
we're going to be beating on for 2 straight days. We've got the course to ourselves.
Love it.
We're not competing with an autocross. It's just our course, giving rides, putting smiles on faces. So
Love it.
happy to have Simpson on board. Thank you very much. We got brand new helmets for that event.
Love
It's
it.
going to be awesome. Come
Love
out
it.
and see us.
Fantastic. All right, guys, we'll take a little break and we'll be right back for the last segment. So don't go away. We'll be here in just a minute. Hey guys, listen, if you need a livery on your race car or a wrap done on your commercial vehicle, give the guys down at Graphic Effects in Murfreesboro a call, 615-896-4301. They are the best in the business at what they do. If you need a mural done inside your business or outside on a brick wall even, they can do it. If you need a logo on your garage floor, they can do it. They specialize in commercial wraps, but they can also do the single color stuff, cool looking stripes, anything else you can think of. If you need a banner, if you just need stickers, if you need something cool for your race car, give these guys a call. Graphic Effects down in Murfreesboro, 615-896-4301. Check them out.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Finch with Finch Performance, and we're just going to take a quick little peek around the shop here to see some of the different things that we work on around here. So first up, we've got some chassis in production. We've got a small backlog right now, but we're knocking out some 67 to 72 C10 stuff. We've got a really cool 67 crew cab Chevy here, C10. We've made a custom one-off Apex Predator chassis with long arm suspension all the way around. This thing's going to be pretty badass. 56 F100 with the Coyote 10-speed. Just all we got left here is really getting the supercharger installed, finishing up the wiring and a little bit of the fuel system, get it fired off. And then, of course, we're back on our Ferrari 308 custom project here with the LT5 engine and a Graziano 6-speed transaxle. So this thing is going to be full kill, badass. And that's just some of the things we do here. So we don't just build trucks. We build a lot of everything. Main thing is we have a good time because that's what it's about.
All right, guys, we're back. Final segment here. We're going to wrap this baby up, land this plane, I guess you would call.
Does it have to stop?
We've had a good time tonight, hadn't we?
I've had a great time.
Isn't this awesome? Just sitting
man.
around, talking cars, talking racing, talking restoration.
Makes me happy.
Doing a little stripe action.
Turned out killer, man.
It
Great
does.
job.
It looks really good.
It really did set it off.
That really is sharp. I mean, this is just a cool way to just spend a Thursday night. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching with us and hanging out with us and just talking a little car, talking a little music. Did you bring a guitar?
I didn't. I should have brought a guitar.
You should have brought a guitar.
I should have brought a guitar. You know
I might
what?
have one at the house. I need to run up and grab it.
Yeah.
Well, we can do a cappella.
Oh, are y'all gonna sing with me?
Acapella, acapella.
I'll be your backup. I mean, little do you know, I mean, James and I have a similar background, right? We both come from the West Coast.
Yeah.
Both moved out here to chase our singing careers.
Oh, I did not
His,
know
of course,
that about
worked
you.
out. Mine, not so much.
I did not know
This
that
is the
about
first time
you.
hearing about this, man. I
just made that up.
That's more breaking news.
Breaking news, everybody.
Brian Finch in his short-lived music career.
Yeah.
Well, we actually did. Angela and I came out here for music, and she gave it a good 10-year try, and
I get it,
and
man.
it just wasn't in the cards for her. So she's now a lead esthetician at one of these spas over here, and loving life that way. So
It's really about what makes you happy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's right.
Chase it, give it what you got, and and then find out what makes you really happy.
well, in the first couple of months after the all right, fine, I'm giving up. They were a little rough.
Of course they
There
are.
was there was an evening of crying and holding her and that kind of things when she finally just realized, you know what?
Hey, there's plenty of that when you stay in the business.
I know, I guarantee you. Well, I bet.
That still happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hell, I might do that tonight when I get
I
home.
know, right?
Somebody hold me.
Never. Those guys were mean to me on that show. Well, we hope we've given you a fun experience here. So we
man, I've had a great
hope
time,
you don't
brother.
go home crying.
No, I've had a blast, man.
So, man, I mean, like you touched on our event schedule we've got coming up. We've got Triple Crown here in
be there for that.
barely a month, if not even
Shoot,
3
it's
weeks.
not even that. It's three weeks. 4 weeks.
Gary Case called me today. I've got to make some signs for that show to make sure that everybody gets to where they're supposed to be.
I'm gonna come
it's
out there and be there for that.
Going to be epic.
excited.
To be epic.
Last year, I took the 55 out there
Awesome.
that I had put together with the 2JZ, and Gary went and got Chip Foose and said, "You need to come look at this thing." And Chip signed my firewall.
That's cool.
And because he did, then here came Kev Dog and
Dave
Kendig, and they signed it.
Awesome.
And then, golly, I took it down to Cruising the Coast last year, and we ran into I can't ever think of anybody. I'm getting old for this deal. The blonde girl that's been in
Courtney
Hanson.
Yeah.
Courtney Hanson.
I love Courtney. She's
ran
great.
into Courtney, and she signed it, and so
Awesome.
like that firewall is killer looking. It's all matte black, and I happen to have silver Sharpies on me, and I got all these killer
Smart
signatures
man.
on that. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So that was a lot
and
of fun.
And they'll all be there. They'll all be there.
Oh,
this
yeah.
year
Those
again.
guys will all be back. It was so funny. So Dave, he had said, go over there and get Dave to sign it. So, and he had told Dave, and I went over there, and David kind of looked at me and said, yeah, but he's on the phone. And so I didn't want to bother him, so I was just sitting there
He's
watching.
probably talking to me.
Well, what was funny was, we might have to level up a little bit. He was
It was consultant. I consult for him
Right.
right.
occasionally.
Help him
but,
figure
I give him
out
a good
things.
rate.
help him figure out things.
Color
on his bill.
choices
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah. I'm sure he needs some creativity. He needs a little help here and there. But he was talking to one of the cars won something at the show, and it was what's the little comedian guy? Golly, I can't think of anybody's name.
Little comedian guy.
The little what's his name, Jimmy? Damn it, I can't think of what his name. So. Yeah, listeners, what's the comedian guy's name? Right, that doesn't get anybody anywhere. The little short black dude.
Kevin Hart.
Everybody loves
Kevin Hart. Oh, I love Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart.
Yeah,
and he was literally talking to Kevin Hart on the phone, and I was like,
he's probably getting him to build something.
It was just so funny. Well, it was his car that had won an award, so he was calling Kevin to say, "Hey, Kevin, we did it. Your car won an award," and all that stuff. So that was funny. I was like, "Give me the phone. I want to talk to Kevin Hart." But
I was fortunate enough to be able to go to Chip Foose's shop earlier this year and hang out with him for
crazy.
an evening.
That's cool.
And sit down with him and his girlfriend for a couple of hours and just shoot the shit and talk about things. And
oh man, that's
such a cool
great
experience. And of course, I said, hey, you're gonna be at Triple Crown. Come on over.
Take a ride.
I'm gonna throw you in the right seat and blow your mind.
That's right. That's right.
Hopefully, a lot of those guys will come over and get rides with us.
That'd be sweet.
It's going to be good.
I like Chip. Chip was really real. Like he wasn't.
Oh, he is.
He was really, really real.
I got to hang out with Chip at the Mac Tools Expo at Opryland a couple years back. They had me come play and do an event, and he walked around with me for an hour at the event, just looking at stuff and talking. Just the coolest, most chill guy in the world, and he's exactly as he comes off on television, just kind and cool and nice. It's what you want.
You get him in his element. We were at his shop, and he was just so excited to show us everything he's working on, to walk us all over, and check out the cool thing on this, and this is so and so's car, and when he's talking and interacting you like a normal person, you're like you're sitting there going, man, like you're Chip Foose. And he's sitting there just showing you,
you don't have to spend 2 seconds with me,
right?
And here you are,
and he's walking us through for an hour, just going over every little detail of all the different builds he's doing, and
because he actually loves that stuff.
Yeah,
he wants to talk about it.
The passion is crazy with him.
When he came over and looked at that old truck that we had put together in my garage, and and thought that was cool, and signed the firewall, and then turned back to me, and most of them guys would say, "All right, buddy, I can't take off and do what they're doing." Turned back around to me, stuck his hand out, and not one of these, like a long handshake.
Yep.
Looked you in the eye.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good job, man. That's
Respect.
really cool. Good to meet you.
That's so kind.
Like that. Yeah.
When you meet guys like that, and the same thing in the music business, when I meet guys like that, you meet all kinds. And I've met guys that are not like that. But when you meet cats like that are cool, they've achieved a whole lot, and they've got an aura about them that's larger than life, but yet they come off as a normal human being. That's always the people that make the best impression. Those are the people that you walk away from and go, man, I'd hang out with that guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna remember that guy.
Yes, absolutely.
If he ever needed anything, I'd help him.
I'd show up for that.
Yeah. So we've got Triple Crown coming up. Shortly after Triple Crown,
we got C10
Nationals roll in.
Nashville Super Speedway.
And we'll be doing the same kind of thing with that.
Except it'll just all be trucks.
I'm hoping my truck is done by then.
I'm going to bring my truck out.
I'm trying.
The 69 custom camper that I'm working on now that we just fired up, it will be done and be ready.
Nice.
So
Dude,
it will be given
the inner
rides.
fenders on that thing are killer.
They turn out really
put
nice.
that little video today. That's killer looking.
Yeah, those take a little bit of work, and of course, I had my helper Steve Rupp from Hot Rod there.
Isn't that funny? Shame Steve couldn't make us.
He would hold things for me, and he actually gave me the motivation because he asked me like 3 times, and he's like, "You gonna finish that last inner fender? You gonna finish welding that up? You gonna finish welding that up?" I'm like, "Yeah, all right."
While he's cleaning your
it wasn't
shop.
until I finished welding it that he actually left today. So he stuck through to the end.
Nice.
But yeah, C10 Nationals will be doing Share the Ride there.
Yeah.
We got a great partnership with Chris Baker and all of his events. So we do Share the Ride at the C10 Nationals. We do it at the Bowtie Nationals.
Yeah.
We're going to be at the All Truck Show down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So we're going to be rocking and rolling with the Share the Ride program all over. So any of these shows you guys get to, if we're there, it's worth the wait in line to get a free ride with us and experience it, because it will change your view of autocross.
It
and
totally
just the
did
hot rod
mine.
world
It did mine too,
altogether.
man.
Totally did.
Literally.
It'll make you spend some money.
It's
It'll make
made
you go
me spend a lot of money.
There's only
damn
a
it.
couple things in life that make you spend a lot of money.
Yeah, well, that's one of them. Yeah, we're not going to talk about the others.
When you get your first taste of it, there's 2 things that will really make you spend a lot of money.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh my goodness, isn't that right? So like it caused me to build one of the Finch trucks. So
Yep, me too.
I'm well along the way. Hope to have it for C10 Nationals, the first ever square body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's not
We've done several square body chassis. We've done some Jimmies and Blazers.
Yep.
Those have been out there.
Yep.
But I think I've built 4 square body chassis, and
And
yours will probably be the first one.
I'm ahead right now.
Actually be done and on the road. Everybody else has kind of petered out on their projects.
Have they really? Wow.
Yeah.
I'm nose to the grindstone. Music City Muscle chassis number 21.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
It will be
Yeah,
there.
we're in the mid-30s now.
Yeah.
So.
Oh,
Do you need more
Comes some
plates?
numbers.
Do you have plates?
I'm going to need more plates. I'm out of numbers, and we got another Dodge build coming in.
Nice.
So
Nice.
as soon as the custom camper's done,
Nice.
we've got another Dodge D150 coming in. Basically red, just replicating what we did with Charles Utz.
Charles's truck.
So that thing was so cool.
Dude, that's a beautiful truck, and it came out so well.
Amazing.
And I didn't tell you, I had Charles print us up flyers for the last show we did.
Oh, so he did the flyers.
He did all the flyers. And what was funny was I messaged him. I said, "Hey Charles, could you maybe make us a few flyers to hand out?" And he was like, "How many you want?" And I'm like, "I don't know, 500 or so." Dude, 2 boxes, 1,500 flyers in each box showed up.
That's
And
cool.
Like,
Such
what a
nice
cool guy.
That guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better customer.
Fantastic guy.
Contacted me on Instagram. Reached out and said, "Hey, I've had this truck. Same backstory like you,
Yeah.
and and
Yeah.
like you with the GTO. It's been in the family the whole time. It was his first car in high school. It was a power wagon, jacked up 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
He started the restoration project.
That's right.
Came off the road. Back in the '80s. Started the restoration project. It's stalled out after 15, 20 years.
Ugh.
It was painted, but it was, he'd had it restored. The frame was done, all powder coated, everything rebuilt underneath it. And he's like, I want to completely change directions. I think the story he told me is like, I'm building this truck so nice, it won't fit in my garage on the West Coast.
Because it's all lifted up and all that.
Because it's all jacked up.
Yeah.
And he says, I really hate to see something this nice sit outside.
outside.
And he says, I love what you do to the C10. Can you do that to a Dodge? And I'm like, ship it to me. And we did not meet. We literally never met until the
Arnie's show, right?
We Are Mopar.
No,
We Are Mopar show
in
Texas after the truck was done. And I took it down there and unveiled it at We Are Mopar. It was the first time him and I met.
Amazing.
So the whole time was just emails and phone calls, and he completely trusted everything. And I don't want to tell on him, but he's an old circle track guy, and he's like, we started talking about drivetrains and stuff, and he's like, you know what? I've got a bunch of old circle track motors. I think I'll just throw an old round track 350 in it, to drive it around. And I'm just kind of like,
no, man.
I'm like, yeah, well, we still got a lot of time to talk about that. We'll get that. and then I just so happened to find a Hellcat on Facebook Marketplace. I mean, literally a mile up the street from my shop.
Beautiful.
And I sent him a picture of it. And I said,
Let's do
what
this.
do you think about this? Because it's all about timing with these guys. It's all about how you approach them, how you push it to them. And he's like, do you think you could make that actually work in that truck? And I said,
100%.
Yes, easy.
No
he said,
problem.
Go for it. And it has turned out to be the most awesome truck
cool.
we've built. I'm a believer in those Hellcats.
You just
They
can't
are
beat
incredible.
that power, man. I mean, it's incredible.
It's
I mean, we
nuts.
got another one. The next Dodge built, we got a brand new crate Hellcat sitting in the box from Scoggin Dickies. I mean, the crazy thing is, you can buy a complete Hellcat crate motor cheaper than you can buy an LT4.
That's unbelievable.
Wow. Supercharged, right?
Yeah,
Same thing.
supercharged.
Yeah.
Oil pan, clutch,
Everything.
blower, injectors, throttle body, complete motor.
Unbelievable. Wow.
I mean, why would you build a motor?
Yeah.
A pulley change, some injectors,
You're making
and you got
real
800.
power.
You got 800 wheel horsepower.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
And dependable.
Yeah. Just like they come
God,
off the
love
showroom
that.
floor.
He beat on that truck. He drove it all the way from Nashville, road tripped all the way to Texas with us for the C10 Nationals. We snuck it in. Barry did some cool decals for the back.
Yeah.
Says I identify as a C10.
Yeah.
My pronouns are Silverado and Cheyenne.
Amazing.
And it was a biggest hit. Everybody wanted to
loved
ride
it.
in the Dodge.
Yeah.
Well,
We're at a C10 show, and the biggest draw there was the Dodge
How funny.
on the road course giving
Amazing.
rides.
That's awesome.
And he never shut that thing off.
Fantastic.
Did the most laps out of anybody all weekend. Never had a problem. Never overheated. Never heat soaked. And when the event was done, he got on the road, said his goodbyes, and headed to California.
Drove it home. Drove it to California from
drove it
Texas.
to California.
That says a lot, man. That says so much about the build and
absolutely.
the reliability about it. I mean,
and your development and everything that you've done on these trucks to
hop
make
in a
them
vehicle
right.
on the first trip out and be able to make a cross country trip plus a bunch of racing.
Yeah.
That's incredible, man.
Oh, and I mean, when I mean beat on it, I mean
beat the shit out of it.
he
like
just
hard.
like it's got a rev limiter. I'm going to use it. That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
And he wore it out.
Yeah.
He just
broke the shocks and springs in real nice.
Yeah,
you know,
man, that's what I'm talking
So
about.
I love that build because it was really cool. I love working on new things, and we actually got another one of coming up. We're gonna do a full NBS for you Chevy guys out there.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we're just gonna skip the OBS platform completely.
Really?
We're gonna jump right to the NBS.
All right.
And build a badass Finch Performance NBS.
No kidding.
Sick.
335 squared, full custom
Wow.
chassis, LT4, 6-speed.
Because you did the Ford.
Yep, we did a
You
couple.
did the
Fords.
round, whatever year model, the round
the
body
99 Lightning.
Ford for Detroit.
Yep. We did a 56
Detroit
F100.
Yeah.
And we're gonna jump to the NBSs next.
Sick, man.
Customers already got the truck.
No kidding.
He secured a really clean 2007, I think, GMC.
07.
So that's gonna be cool. It's
That'll
gonna
be
change the
sweet.
game. Yeah.
That'll be a very interesting build. All right, guys, we got like 5 minutes left. So, Mr. Otto, what's shaking for
new?
you in the next few months?
Let's talk about that new album.
Do you have
Yes.
like an album? You got an
I have a
album?
new record
Oh, nice.
that it's literally been done for 2 years, and I've been waiting on like getting all of the business aspect done with it.
Yep.
And it's been such a huge pain in the butt because the business side of it all sucks.
Ugh.
Music is great. The music business not so great.
Nice.
So, but we're gonna start dropping music. The album's called Self Made Fool, and the first single off that is going to be Self Made Fool, which is a song that I did. It's like a trio song with me, Jamie Johnson, and Lee Thomas, and Randy Hauser.
Wow.
And I'm really stoked about that, man.
Yeah.
It turned out really, really great. And that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the record. Actually, playing guitar on that is Charlie Starr from Blackberry Smoke as well. So that one's like a star-studded feature. We're going to drop that one first. And, man, I got a whole record after that. We're going to be dropping singles off of that for the next year or so. And then, playing shows everywhere. Come see me.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And driving autocrosses everywhere.
Every chance I get. That's the problem with my job, though, is my job is on the weekends.
On the weekends, yeah.
And so it really
And
has
mostly
to come
out
down.
of town.
Mostly out of
Yeah,
town. And
yeah.
all this cool stuff happens in Nashville, too. It's like everybody started coming to Nashville, and we got these great events. And I'm like halfway across the country.
Yeah.
It sucks. But, my
Well,
man's got to work.
You need to check our schedule before you make yours.
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
need to schedule a gig in Biloxi during Cruising the Coast. And
Yes.
you need to schedule one in
Hey, look,
Texas
all
during
of you big manufacturers, when you're thinking about your entertainment for your for the shows, holler at your boy. I will come down, and then you guys, I'll bring my car.
So
we'll
reach
hang
out to me, Brian at FinchPerformance.com.
Right, my agent.
I'm his agent.
My agent, Brian Finch.
But yeah, if you want a true car guy that
Yes.
can put on an amazing show,
Yes.
then James Otto's your guy.
Yes.
Because if you haven't been to one of his shows, you got to go check it out.
He can play for you in the suite and then
my
take
God.
you for a ride on the track.
Absolutely.
I listen to
I
him
love
every
it.
time I go. Listen to him. What he could be singing the same thing over and over every day.
Yeah.
I get goosebumps.
Never
I'm just
get tired
excited
of
to
it.
see it every
Never
time.
get tired of it.
And when
Yeah.
I loved the shows at the Analog, and
We've
so
had a great time.
I think I did 4
Country
of
Soul
those.
sessions. You did. You
4 or
came out
5
for a
those
bunch of
Country
them. I
Soul
appreciate
sessions.
that.
So I can't wait to hear the album come out. And but again, use him. That's what he's there for.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm here. And honestly, it gives me a chance to tell my wife that I'm still making a paycheck.
Yeah.
And I'm playing with my hot rod. That's
Yeah.
like my favorite kind of
Yeah.
gigs in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holler at me.
Go get to play and make a
Getting
dollar.
paid
Yeah.
to have fun.
I
That's
love
it.
I love it.
Can't get any better than that.
Doesn't
That's
get any
right.
better.
Can't get any better than that. All right, guys. So this has been a great show. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure and hit that like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, of course. We're right here on Slide Factory's Facebook page. And again, if you guys, because of the, we're bound to get some good content out of this. We're going to get a ton of hits off of this show. So if you're not already a show sponsor, you're going to miss out on what we're going to have, the amount of people that we're going to reach off of just this show. So if you want to look into coming on and being a sponsor of Get Slydewayz, give us a shout, give us an email, give us a Facebook message. We'll walk you through 2 or 3 different ways that you can be a part of that, and put your logo right here or right behind that one, or right over there. We can name the studio after your company. So reach out to us.
Wide open for opportunity.
I mean, look at all the room we have in here where we can hang
clean
signs.
white walls to hang
Absolutely,
stuff.
man.
Get on the ground floor. It's like Bitcoin back when I was under $1.
That's right.
I mean, this is your opportunity.
Right now is your chance to get in on a huge moneymaker for the future.
Yeah, or even with our event series.
That's
if you
right.
want to get involved with this.
There's also opportunities
for our drift series, for our autocross series.
Yep.
Our ride-along program.
Yep.
I mean, we're still kind of ground floor on that, and
we're working on next year's schedule already. So
growing.
there's going to be plenty of opportunities for that. We got to get all of our ducks in a row for next year's stuff. So
beautiful.
There are plenty of, like you said, plenty of opportunities for that. All right. That'll do it for another episode of Get Slydewayz with Barry Clapp. We'll see you next Thursday night at 6 o'clock right here on Facebook on the Slide Factory channel. You guys have a great night. We'll see you then.